I can still remember the first day of starting school, and I remember walking in and everybody was so welcoming, and I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I want to say maybe in the first or second grade, I remember when I would bring homework home and I asked my dad for help, it was the last time I would ever ask for his help. Because it was like that was the moment when I found out that my dad was really hard or just, a little abusive, you know. I think that took a huge effect on me as far as wanting to learn anymore, just because by having the wrong answers towards my dad, it was like this really big deal to him. And so I remember I brought homework, I brought math homework back and I asked for help. And it seemed like my dad was so willing to help me and he was excited to help me. But I think his expectations of what I knew at that time were a little high, because he would ask me things like, what's 0 plus 2? And I don't know what any of these numbers mean. And because I would say 3 or a different number, my dad would just slap me really hard. He got so upset that I got the wrong answer. From then on, I was just quiet at school. Never wanted to participate. By the time I finally understood that I needed to focus, it was already too late. So here's the intro. Go ahead and just tell us your name, your work position, and how long you've been working here.
Okay. My name is Nicki Wake. I'm the coordinator for the adult education program in the Provo School District. This is my second year in this position, but before that I worked as a teacher at this school for 14 years.
Can you tell us a little bit about the students?
Our students are very diverse. We have students that are 16 and 17 years old that have withdrawn from regular school. And we have people in their 20s and 30s that come to our school, and we even had a gentleman that was in his 70s that came to our school. So the age range is quite diverse, and the reasons that people come to our school are quite diverse. Some people had to leave school to work to help support their family. Some people had to leave school to babysit younger siblings. So there's just a lot of different reasons why people didn't finish school in the traditional time frame.
Majority of them, the reason that they didn't graduate from high school in the first place is just a lack of a supportive household. And it's not that some of them had loving parents, but the parents didn't have the tools or the skills to help them be successful in school, or some of my students have had to drop out to help pay the bills. And so that's been part of the problem, but a lot of them, it's just been a lack of supportive family.
I feel like having a connection with your students is the only way to really make them feel comfortable coming to class. It's the reason that they come isn't because, especially with adult education, people dropped out because they didn't like the high school experience, they didn't like their teachers, they didn't like their peers. If they can't like coming to this class, what's going to keep them coming here? So making that connection is vital to keeping students coming.
As an adult, we have a lot of payments, unfortunately. And so that's, I think, the hardest part of doing the schooling is that you're not a child. You don't have mommy and daddy paying everything for you. You have to pay things yourself, and you have to be in the real world. And it's a lot harder to come to class as an adult than it would be if you were made to by the state.
I would say around my junior year, I just really lost my way mentally. I was just so consumed with all of my feelings and the sadness and depression, just everything. It was just so overwhelming, and I felt like I had no one. So I turned to drugs, just weed, but I did it every day just to numb everything that I was feeling. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about anyone. I just wanted to get high all the time. And I would go to school just high out of my mind. I don't remember most of my junior year because I was high every day, and that was all I wanted.
I recently met a woman who is probably in her late 40s, and she came in and she wanted to get her diploma done, and she told me that she stopped going to school in 7th grade. I still don't know exactly, what was going on that made her quit going to school in 7th grade, but I will tell you that she was coming to school, and she called me and she was crying, and she had stopped coming because her son, who had been clean from heroin for about a year, had started using again, and she was just very distraught. And I know that's an extreme example, but I'm saying that there are real reasons why people don't complete things, because there are real hard things going on in their personal lives.
Hey, Levi. Hey, Levi. While I was working and trying to still get my GED so I can go to college and start film school, I met my wife, and we got married, and we had a child together. And I think that's really what pushed it, because as soon as Levi was born, Rachel was just so blessed with these different opportunities, where it kept us financially stable to the point where I didn't have to work anymore. I asked her, is there any way that I can just focus with getting my GED and not work? And she said, yeah. And so I did. And maybe a month or two after that, I got it. And so I think the biggest difference was having Levi, being a father. I wanted to make sure that the life that Levi has is complete opposite of what I had, of the abuse, of teaching, being in a safe environment. But Levi changed everything. And Rachel too. Rachel was just such a huge support in my life. And I'll never forget that.
I finally have the opportunity to go now.
What changed?
My sister got a car. I also have a reliable babysitter, and my job is pretty flexible. We have this thing where we flex in and we flex out, so I only have to work part-time, and then I get a week off, and I feel like that's really good for me, because I can spend time with my son and just refresh and work on my schoolwork.
My mom didn't finish school, and my stepdad did, and he went to college, and I told my mom, well, you make it perfectly fine without having an education. And then as I got older, I realized you can't make it as well as you want to. You can make it, but it's a lot harder. And I don't want my kids to think because I didn't go to school, it makes it right. I want them to see I went to school, I did what I needed to do, so then they can do what they need to do and not follow in the same footsteps as me, that's for sure.
Our class numbers are smaller, and so I feel like all of us teachers are able to connect more with our students and spend individual time with our students, because our class sizes are usually smaller. And a lot of it is just our students, their attitude is different from when they were in high school. And I've had students say, if you were my teacher in high school, I would have graduated. And I've said to them, if I was your teacher in high school, would you have even liked me? Yeah, I don't even know, your attitude, you didn't care about school. Your attitude was different. So even if I was your teacher in high school, you probably wouldn't have liked me. And you probably would have had that same attitude, that it maybe wouldn't have made a difference.
You good? I think so.
Just go home and pop it in.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'm currently going to UVU, and my major is in digital cinema. I love movies, I love storytelling, and that's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I'm currently at UVU, and it feels great walking through those halls. Lastly, I want to thank the faculty here. They are truly incredible. I love them, and I wouldn't be here without them. Thank you for believing in me, and I wish you all the best of luck, because I know I'm a witness that if
if I can come out of the shelter and have a happy family and continue to go to UVU and get my degree, I know anybody can. Thank you.